and welcome to Who Does What's Mumbo Jumbo for this, the February the 12th? No, it's later than that. Anyway, it's around about that time in February. I've been off half-term with Isaac. I previously tried to film this video, which part of that will appear in this video, but I'm going over some bits. Also, I was invaded during that by Isaac, and we have a small division later on that you, I'm sure, will enjoy immensely. Other than that, that's been about it, really. It's just been a half-term week. I've been running around with the boy. It's a bit knackering doing that. And that's that, I feel. Let's get on with some news. So I didn't really get much playing, but we did play Sunday, and we played Frosthaven. Has come back out of retirement, because Robbie loves a Frosthaven. The boys all on a Sunday love a Frosthaven. I like Frosthaven. There is a love-hate relationship going on here at this point in time, I feel. And I think if I had to nail it down, my big issue, I think, with Frosthaven, whereas I did love Gloomhaven all the way through, is that it's just become a lot more work. All the levels are a lot more involved. I mean, last night's adventure, the Sunday we played this adventure, there was fucking monsters spawning every left, right and centre every 5 seconds. How you would do that without an app, I have no idea. So I'm thinking of the time investment versus enjoyment I get out of Frosthaven is now unbalanced. And I feel that is where I'm at with it, is that I'm like, I'm investing like 2 to 3 hours into a session a night. We're probably getting one level done. And ultimately I'm thinking, I could have played something probably that I would have enjoyed a whole lot more in that period of time. However, I'm gonna, let's fix this. We're in for the long haul on this. There's still a lot to play, and hopefully we can hit a few milestone-y, dingy, openy things soon that might be perk our interest back up. So I've gone back in and I had a look at my character I'm currently playing, and I've respec him to something I think would be a bit more fun for me to do, because I wasn't really enjoying this, the trapper class I'm using. And he's kind of like, okay, but he's not been setting my well on fire. I've not been able to do anything that I'm like, woohoo! So I've gone back and respec him, bought bits of kit from the shop, just went through and just kind of gave myself a little bit more of a buff on him, and hopefully that will pep up my gameplay. Where are we? If you've never played Frosthaven, then I think Jaws of the Lion's a lovely entry point for you. I think play that, see what you feel of that. If the mechanisms in that, this card play, which is the key to Gloomhaven and Frosthaven, Jaws of the Lion, is this card play of your character and the strategy involved around that. It's a very Euro-y dungeon adventure game. If you enjoy that, then perhaps venture forth into the rest of the adventure that is Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, blah 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 blah. I think Frosthaven does all the stuff we wanted. It gives us the town controls. It gives us all this extra buff, and it is all the things we wanted. It is all representing that, almost that simulation of a video game thing. But with all that becomes a lot of bookkeeping and a lot of maintenance, a lot of stuff. And I think that, I don't know, the fun factor versus the fucking homework factor is kind of like, ah. So that's where we're at. Other than that, we didn't play. We didn't play till Friday because we bumped off Friday. Me and Ben went, oh no, we're going to take an early one. So so that's it. So that's all we can talk about. Should we do some news?
Here is the news.
News, big news actually, which I find a bit sad, and it's pretty awful. Funko Games has been, or Funko, and specifically Funko Games, has been in dire straits. Funko itself, the company, purveyors of all plasticky, poppy, beanie baby type stuff, financially in the toilet. They most recently started to deal with Goliath Games to sell all of their gaming assets, all of their stuff, along with their puzzles and bits. All that's going to Goliath publish Rummy Cup. They've been around for a while, but they're not like a massive, big tabletop board game publisher. Part of this deal, part of the thing what's happened is Prospo Hall, in-house design team at Funko, they were brought up a few years back, and they're this fairly large team, I think 30 strong team, that were behind a great deal of really fantastic movie tie-in licenses published from Funko and a few other places. I mean, just think at the top of my head, you've got Horrified, the Villainous range, They did a lot of licensed stuff like Texas Chainsaw Massacre Slaughterhouse most recently, Rear Window, Goonies, Back to the Future, a bunch of stuff. Really solidly well-designed, entry-level licensed games. And all of that at this point in time is gone. Possible Hall's involvement, you know you were getting a decent movie license tie-in that actually honoured license, had some gameplay there worthy of playing, and was a solid title. And yeah, that's really shit. I don't know what this means. Essentially, well, I think what it means is that Possible Hall is gone, or it's a shadow of its former self. And I can't see Goliath investing in that side of things, and I can't see Goliath, making use of that. They've clearly bought the assets and they use what they've got, but I can't see them following up. It's sad. Movie license stuff, generally, of course, video game sectors and everything else, and board games for many years has been dire. You take a punt on this stuff. Mostly it's a cash in. And aside from Gale Force 9, I think we recently did some really good efforts on it. The Possible Hall band linked to that was really like almost a medal of honor. Like you're going to get something decent. It will be good. It will be thematically to the title. The art design, everything was all kind of evoked what the game is based on. And that's gone. So that's bullshit, really, isn't it? I don't think they've announced yet if Goliath have taken on any of that team, but let's be honest, I can't imagine they are. So, yeah, that's a sad day for the players and the publishing world in general, and designers, that we've lost that team, and more importantly, the great work they've done. Off a side note, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Slaughterhouse, probably now their last thing out as far as I'm aware, HMV exclusive, is back in stock, or was the other day. I think I mentioned it before. Go and grab that, certainly, because that's going. So there's that. Scoffy time. Right, not much else news, but this turned up. This is Tapestry. This is revised, adjusted, rebalanced civilization packs. This is essentially a patch for Tapestry. Now, you can gnash your teeth about this and go, well, why? And I can understand the logic of why would I pay 20 of my English pounds for what is essentially, well, they didn't get it right the first time. However, Tapestry is an unbalanced game at the best of times, we know that. And you know what? A patch to a game, we get it. I know we get it in the video game world. It happens. Granted, we don't normally have to pay for it, though. I'm willing to support as such if it fixes stuff. I've taken the punt on this because I do play a lot of Tapestry, and I was interested to see what they've done with these rebalanced, readjusted things. And to be fair to you, they've done quite a lot. In the pack, so we get this card here, which just gives us all the civilizations, and they've now attributed like an actual level of difficulty to them, how clever they are. How clever they are? Oh, ta-da! Sorry, they've done this. So we've got all the buildings and what they cover. Oh, there's more buildings. But most importantly, the civs. It's quite nice. We had a couple of they've revised these two land masses. I haven't compared them to the originals yet, but they've been tweaked. Desert definitely looks like it's been tweaked. They've been tweaked. We get a piece of paper going, which was most amusing and not is. So they've basically done. They haven't just. They've, like, top to bottom in some of the cases, revised these things. Now, we've previously had, in the rule books, slight revisions to each of the different civs. When you pick them at the start of the game, you go through the rule book, find it, and you can tweak it. Now they've revised them on there. I thought we were just going to look at the revisions they've made in previously, but actually in some cases, and I haven't looked through all of these yet, and there's a big stack of these, you get all of the civs from everything up until not quite the last expansion, the Fairy Folk, Friends and Fairy, I can't remember the last one, Fantasies and Futures, aren't included. They haven't revised or tweaked any of those, but these are all the original plus the arts and architecture and whatever the other one is. I can't remember the expansion for it. But anyway, 30 odd things done. Back to what I was saying. I presumed that they were just going to kind of do a vague tweak, but a lot of these, so this is the original and this is the new version, they've done some aesthetic choices on the text and wording, removed some iconography in some cases because it kind of wasn't important really, and often, like looking at this one for instance, an example, they've kind of completely redesigned that civ. It's entirely different to what it used to do before, and skimming through that, there's a lot of them they've done that with, which is kind of cool, but also leaves me going, hold on a minute, I know you've redesigned that, but you'll just say in the pack that you are going a separate pack containing revised versions of the fantasies and future civilizations may follow in the future. So they're going to tweak them potentially in the future. Chances are they going to then have to tweak them again? I don't know. I'm fascinated to see what these changes bring, because there is some significant changes in there. What I've looked at, skimmed at a few of those. It's like a whole new game. I'll obviously keep the originals. What do we feel? What is people's opinions on the patching of board games? Because we don't really see it very often at all. Usually you get that broken, whatever version it is. You might find an FAQ, you might find some bits you can, done on Board Game Geek, or people might come up with their own fixes to it. I don't really have an issue. Stuff changes. I don't give a shit about unbalanced stuff in games anyway. Sometimes I find it charming. But yeah, there you go. There is that. It's out if that's of interest to you. Maybe when I dig deeper into that, I will report back more how that actually feels and plays on some of those versions. But yeah, just thought it was worth mentioning, and as it turned up and it was here. It was here. And I have to say thank you for Ben, because Ben ordered that off his championship membership. So that was nice. Thank you, Ben. I owe him money. Other than that, the only other thing I picked up, and I've been really trying not to, but I picked up this, was Brian Boru, because I saw it cheap. This is Piers Sylvester's, it's a trick-taking area control game. I'd heard murmurings about it, and I saw it relatively cheap, so I picked it up. The idea is it's all to do with the Vikings attacking Ireland. I'll leave it at that, really. How the game works is you have hands of cards, each of you, and you play tricks with them. And at the top and the bottom of the cards will be abilities. So if you win the trick, you get to do the thing at the top of it, which will relate to you taking over territories in the map or doing other things. There's about 3 other areas on the board. I think there's a marriage track, there's a church track, and there's a Viking Raiders track that you could manipulate by the icons which are on the cards, and you're slowly looking to cover link up areas on the board and cover regions of the map by playing these cards and doing the things. But it's got much more of a tactical play, so you can play a card to win a trick to do the power on there, but actually some of the powers for not winning a trick are also quite powerful, and I really like the look of it. I've played around with it the other day just to get a feel for it, how it works. It's relatively straightforward once you get going. And I like the mashup between the trick-taking and the area control. And you've got things to think about. For instance, the Vikings will attack later on in the game if there's any of them left. So you can manipulate and attack the Vikings before they actually come out onto the board at the end of a round. But if you don't, the person with the least areas on the map is going to get basic. The Vikings are going to move in, and the lowest power card they played, I apologise, will come in and take their villages. And there's other stuff. There's marriage track, can give you points by going up on that. The church track will give you points by going up on that. And that's pretty much it. But it looks like a really nice... I like a trick-taking game. And more importantly, I like something with a bit more going on. This looks like there's a lot more going on. It looks quite fascinating, and it plays up to 5, which is a nice thing that we can play on Fridays. I think once you get your head around it, it will play through quite fast. I think you could be able to knock one of these out in probably about 30-40 minutes, which would be nice, sort of like another one of those Reza Khan-y, satisfying but short plays in there. So that's it. When I've played that, when I've looked at it, I will tell you more, but there was that. That was a treat I did to myself. Behind me, actually, you can't really see it. There's piles of games. I've had a bit of sort out in here. Isn't it nice? I made a stack of stuff that I'm looking at, I might well shift at the local Bring and Buy at the Board Game Trading Chat. No, that's what this is. Board in the City, local board game cafe. They're doing a Bring and Buy this Saturday. I've drug up a load of stuff, mostly older stuff. I just need to clear the decks a bit because it is a bit full up in here. Lots of games. And now I bought another one. Need to stop that. So there you go. That is probably the news. Other than, obviously, the big news is that Who Dares Rolls celebrates its 10th year, its 10th birthday this year. Technically a little bit of last year. But yeah, we're 10 years old. So I thought it'd be nice to go down a bit of memory lane. Let's have a look at some stuff that happened over the last 10 years of Who Dares Rolls. How the fuck is it 10 years? Jesus fucking wept. So I thought it'd be nice. That's going a little meander down the memory lane of Who Dares Rolls, and I'll try and keep this on point and me not rambling too much. But it's just I skimmed through some of the articles I had on the website, kind of just reflect on it and just nudge my brain in the direction of what happened, and I was like, cool. So yeah, the first thing that picked me up was 2013. Actually, there was an article, one of the first articles I'd written on there, which was about ChiCon. It's a mini little con in Chichester. I think it was the only one that actually ran, unless they ran ones previous to that. I went along with son number one at the time, who would have been probably about 11. And it was his first games convention. I think it was my first real proper one as in a Who Dares World's capacity. And we subsequently went on to the Expo, I think, that year. And it was a big event for us. It was a tiny little thing in the Church Hall. I remember playing with Ollie all the entire time, his engagement in lots of different games. It was kind of cool. Yeah, it was good. I mean, I met Black Box Games. There's Martin Vaughan from Black Box Games at the time, who they were doing Lords of War, which was a cracking little card game. And they did a few of them. Sadly, Black Box and Lords of War is lost to time now. And I won't dig into it now, but there was a whole thing with the code designer publisher on it. Did some fucking stupid shit, and the company's no longer with us, which is a real shame because it artistically was gorgeous. I mean, Steve Cox, I think, did the art of it. It was a little 2-player strategy card game, similar in some ways to some of the Wars, but I actually really enjoyed what it did, and the aesthetics of it. And they had grand schemes and plans what they were going to do with it, and sadly it was never to be. I'd always been pushing them towards maybe doing something along the 2000 AD lines, which I think that would have been perfect for them. So yeah, there we go. So there was Chicon. There we were there with Ollie, and then that was kind of the commencement of the embarkation of our journey. I did root around, and I did find an article from 2014, which was the best of 2014, and the winners I'd picked up at that point in time were Ivor the Engine, which I still really like. Ivor the Engine is a vicious game with this kind of lightweight sort of theme dappled on it. It's Tony Boydell, based on obviously the popular Ivor the Engine show, if you remember that as a kid, if you're that old. And it's a vicious sort of Euro. It's supposed to be prompted as a semi-family game. It really isn't, but it's a lot of fun. I still have that in my collection. Legendary Encounters was at number 4, which is up there. It's the Aliens Upper Deck deck building game based on the Legendary mechanism, but the Encounters brought in like a scenario story element to it, and the game with the expansions covers most of the Alien movies. I really enjoyed it. There's the Predator. I've got the Predator expansion in my one as well. I just haven't played it very much, and it kind of hurts me because I look at it and go, I would dig that up and play that again. And I should. So at some point I'm going to definitely, now we are looking at the 10-year anniversary of Who Dares Worlds, I'm thinking that maybe throughout this year I'm going to go on a little bit of a meander down memory lane of some of these games and get them back out and play them and reassess them. And we can, and I can do it for you. What a treat. Content is king. But yes, so Legendary Encounters, I still have that. And I very much enjoy it. The art is shocking in places, isn't it? But it's the harder game to get now, and because it's 10 years old, I guess. Diamonds, the card game, it's like a trick-taking, pokerish-based card game. Really was a hot contender for us for a while. We played that for a good few years. I still have it. I've played it occasionally. I think it's been retired where other things have come in of a similar either line. I mean, like No Thanks has come in. Cockroach Poker we play a lot still. Scouts has obviously dived in on there. There's a bunch of these sort of games, and Diamonds, whilst I enjoyed the trick-taking of it and what it did, it's still there, but and it's still a good game. I think there's a revised edition came out of it since. If you're looking for that sweet spot, and it was relatively inexpensive at the time, that's maybe worth a look. Next up was Imperial Settlers, which is semi-retired. It's a game I love. It's a empire building deck tableau building game from Portal Games, Ignacy Shevchenko. It's got factions you add into it. It's that resource gathering, resource engine building, tableau building. You're essentially gaining resources, and the idea is the economy of trying to burn everything off because nothing kind of carries over round to round. And you can fight other people at the table. It is a cracking game. I think it is. Its bigger issue is that it does tend to play awfully long. There's a cable. I can see the mic cable is in danger of pulling the camera off the table. That would be catastrophic, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's a danger of kind of playing a bit long. Especially at 4 players, it really kind of goes long for what you're getting. 51st State is quite a nice re-implementation of it and plays definitely faster, and I do like that. And of course we had Empires of the North, which again kind of tried to kind of revisit it with the same kind of mechanisms but simplify it down and make it a little bit smoother. And it does work very well in the higher player counts, and I think that's probably one that you could steer towards. But I do love Imperial Settlers. It's kind of semi-retired now in my collection, but it's one I have fond memories of, which is why it sticks around. And then the number one of 2014, our best ofs, was Dead of Winter from Planet Games. This bad boy is 10 years old. A bit dusty, apparently. It is dusty. This when I first got it, and it was released that year. That's statement made. Thank you, Mike. Okay, just for record, this is early Sunday morning. Isaac got me up at just at 7 o'clock. I didn't go to sleep until late-ish because I was actually skimming over the articles on the website last night preparing for this. And so I'm really hanging out my arse, to be fair. Coffee is king. This is why this is now just an incoherent gibberish noise coming out of me. Dead of Winter. A cracking game. It was my game of the year in 2014. I remember getting this. I imported it from the US when it was cheaper back in the days. I bought it direct from Plaid Hat. When I had a bit more money, maybe income. I don't know how I came around to do it. It was cheaper. 10 years ago, everything was fucking cheaper. But yeah, it's a cracking game. It is the first of their Crossroads games, which they never really delivered on. They had grand plans for the Crossroads series. And whilst we've had more Crossroads games, and especially some of the latter ones like Freelancers and the pirate one that's going to escape me for the minute, were re-implementations of the process using apps to do it. I still have a very, very soft spot for Dead of Winter. It had the Crossroads deck, and there was a deck of cards that was every round someone pulled the top card of the deck, and if one of the players doing something at that point in time triggered a keyword in it, that card activated and had an effect on the game. It worked wonderfully in this because it was a post-apocalyptic zombie world. You were in like this Arctic-y Canadian out frozen waste tundra, trying to survive, trying to get food, trying to get resources, keep the camp going. In amongst this mix, you have a traitor element potentially. You have all sorts of shit going on. You're trying to balance the needs of the colony versus more survivors being found and coming into it. And the Crossroads would trigger things like bring more survivors in, more playable characters. Fascinating, really great. Art was brilliant. Fernando, I want to say it's Fernanda. Oh my goodness me, what's her name? Isaac better John Gilbert. It's got a name on there, the artist. But her art is fantastic in this. She also did Ashes, one of the other Plague That games. I mean, this I loved, I adored, I played it a lot. It is a fucking good game. I loved it then, I love it now. And I was lamenting the other day, actually, that I hadn't played Dead of Winter for a long time. And this seems like a perfect, time to go, well, let's get this bad boy back out. I think he only plays 4. Did he play 4 or 5? 2 to 5. He plays 5. I could take this to Friday games. We can play this on the Friday games night. But yeah, Dead of Winter. I love zombies. This, I thought, was the high watermark of zombie board games. It captures everything like Romero's Romero's movies did, is that the zombies are more of just this kind of like existential threat, but they are just another problem in that apocalyptic wasteland. I mean, they're a big problem, but they are just a problem. The actual issues, the actual shit that goes down and the real bad crap comes not so much from the zombies, but more how the humans are trying to fuck each other over, or the betterment of themselves, or any other number of things that I like. And it really did capture that in this game. There was an expansion to it that I've never owned or played, The Longest Night, which added, I believe, some unbalanced elements to it. And a bit of bloat. Tempted by it because it does add more to it, but this was just fine as it stands, and it's weird considering I love expansion. It expands on the game. I just never got around to picking up the expansion for this. And there was subsequently another expansion, which was the War in Colonies, which I was always fascinated by, which used this and The Longest Night and all the components of all that to allow you to play a game where you had 2 warring camps essentially. Up to 9-10 players doing all their own shit and fighting with each other. Fascinating. Good stuff. Dead of Winter, if you've never played it and you're a horror zombie movie fan, you really are missing a treat, because I think really for me, probably of all the zombie games, and there are many of them, this is probably the best of them. I do like City of Horror, Mall of Horror pretty good, but I think this just does all it's got a bit more nitty gritty and edges to it, and I love the art design of it. I love the look of it, and it's a cracking game. Dead of Winter from Planet Games, from designers Isaac Vega and John Gilmore. highly recommended. And that was my game of 2014. And I agree with myself. Past Mike was on it. Good job. Well done, Mike. Excellent stuff. Jolly good. What else have we got? And I didn't like Five Tribes apparently back then. And do you know what? I still don't like fucking Five Tribes. I was excited for XCOM. I still own XCOM. I thought XCOM was a valiant stab at something a bit different. It wasn't quite maybe what everyone wanted from that. But as a real-time game, it does capture that feel of XCOM. It is frantic, it's mad, and every time I've played it and gone for the effort of learning it again, it's actually really good fun. But it's just it's the first one they released without a fucking manual, and that is the problem when you return to the game every fucking time. You haven't got a manual to go, okay, what do I do to set everything up? What's the rules? Let's skim that just to remind myself. It's not fucking there. FFG. I don't think they ever repeated that fuck up. But yeah, it's a good game. I was also excited for Seafall. And that year, I was full of Seafall goodness. I even interviewed Rob Davio. The podcast was storming away at the time, and that ran for a good while. Sadly, all the podcast episodes, everything is lost because I'm an idiot to a certain degree, but I had to stop the subs. I was in a financial... and we weren't recording them anymore, and I pulled the site that they were hosting them, and I didn't think to take all the data and store the podcast episodes. So they're gone. They're lost. Which is a shame. But you know what? Actually, it's probably not, because some of them were fucking terrible. But, you know, it would be a nice history lesson on what we did, where we come from, and how we found ourselves here. So I was excited for Seafall, which sadly wasn't to be necessary when it came out. Pandemic Legacy, which I really enjoyed, and still is one of the high watermarks in Legacy games, I think, Pandemic Legacy, alongside Risk. What else have we got going on? 2015 was the last at the Hilton of the Expos. I went along, I met Ignacy, which, you know, we're still in touch now, which is amazing. He's a lovely man. I looked at we were looking at the new factions for the Imperial Settlers, Atlanteans being one of them, and the Aztecs. And that kind of reminds me to flash back to the early days of board game Twitter. Elon, you twat. Back in that days, there was a load more interaction between fans, designers, publishers. And I remember having a long thread on that where Ignacy was fishing for ideas for the new factions in Imperial Settlers, and I've been playing the shit out of it at that point in time. So that's how we first kind of interacted, and I gave him some ideas of what I thought would be kind of cool to see in it, and actually some of them made it to the finished games, and my name is in the manuals for the expansions. Amazing. So, you know, that was nice. But yeah, that's gone now. The board game Twitter is just not that. It was back in the good old days. When I met Joe Deaver at the show. He was the writer behind the Lone Wolf adventure game books. Sadly, Joe's no longer with us, but it was really nice to meet him, one of my childhood heroes. And Dized crew, I crossed paths the first time with them and raced to the North Pole, which subsequently they would have an impact on what I did going forward, and I will touch upon it in a minute. And they were a good bunch of lads, and yes, it was fun times. And obviously I met a bunch of people on the way, Nate, and a bunch of other people we met and we interacted. My board game Other Family, which I go to the Expo show, which is I see less and less of. Back in the days that I do miss of those early days of the Expo, it was a smaller con and a lot more local talent going on. So you got to kind of everyone knew your name cheers vibe to it, which is, you know, it's sadly changed a bit now. And 2016 was a big show as well. I met Mary Lang. I pissed off Tom Vassell. And I think back to these days of them, is that there was no one doing media at these shows. There was mainly me and Chris with a big event at the show. We had a whole table one year, thanks to Dies, where we were board game geek style interviewing everyone on the show. We did something like 80 fucking interviews that day. We were doing all of the shit that they now do at the show, for probably paying someone some money for free, giving up my time. It was fun. I don't begrudge any of it. It's a bit sad that we offered them options of where we could go and support the show, and they went bigger and better ways. But I remember them very fondly, and we became a very firm fixture of the show for many years, of us going around interviewing and a lot of content produced. We produced hundreds and hundreds of videos all that during that period of time, and it was a lot of fun. What else has gone on? June 2017 is the very first episode of Who Dares Rolls TV. That was the first proper one I put out. It's not great. I went back and went, oh, wow, what was I doing in that? Oh, fuck me. It is what it is. It was shot here in this area, in this very, almost like here, I would have probably been sat. It was the old garage where we were. It had no heating, it had no insulation. It was fucking freezing. And I used to film in there where I could with the bare minimum of lighting and not the greatest mic in the world. And I just had a crack at it. It's using the self-same camera we still have though. But yeah, it was fun times. It was a different aesthetic. I mean, I've still not really landed on what our thing is, but yes, if you want to go back down memory lane watching those old shows, you could do. I can't necessarily suggest you do. October 2016, we attended Essen with Dies. Ah, yes, wonderful times. So yes, I got the first and only time I've gone to Essen was 2016. That was a wonderful trip. And as I think about that, it opens up where I was, what I was doing. But anyway, Essen, if you ever get a chance, go and do it. Because it's great fun. It's a big bastard for show, though. Abu Aeronauts. This is a memory lane. Abu Aeronauts. I was one of the first early UK designers. Nigel Payne. Again, this is sadly lost to time, but this is essentially like a bit like Trump's. You probably can't get it anymore because they no longer exist as a publisher or anything else. But I like the aesthetic of it, the feel of it. And I've got both versions of Abu Aeronauts, and it's probably something actually Isaac would enjoy. Now he's a bit older. I know they were working on a big airship design thing, which I helped them with, and we were kind of engrossed in. It's a shame all that has passed us by, but this is the nature of the beast. So there is a real whistle-stop tour for the 10 years of Who Dares Rolls. I think probably over this year, I maybe will revisit some remembrances of it. It seems like a thing to do. I think definitely going back at looking some games from over the last 10 years would be interesting. I think 2014 was a fairly good banner year, some good releases, so we could probably spend a lot of time just diving into those. But I think I'll go memory lane at some point down the line. 10 years. 10 fucking years. The beard has got greyer. The brain cells have got lesser. But not a lot's changed. And you know what? Look at this audience I've managed to gain in those 10 years of hard work. Maybe in an alternate universe. Maybe. But there we go. Here we are. There's 10 years of Who Dares Rolls. Surprised me, to be fair, because they suddenly clocked me the other night when I was looking and going, shit, fucking hell. How have I not managed to do better? I hope you're all well. I hope you're fine. I will put out another video soon where we're going to a bit more of our standard regular stuff. Because we have been playing other bits and pieces, and we'll certainly be going and playing other bits and pieces going forward. And I've been watching some TV, and I've watched some shows. White Lotus, started watching that. Brilliant. You should watch that. Put that on your list. And I also started watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon. I'm not so sure about that one yet. The jury's out on that. I need to watch some more. They're a good cast. But yeah, there we go. Who Dares Rolls? 10 years old. I feel about 50 of them. I am 50 of them. As always, it is a pleasure to have you there, my loving, enjoying, ever loyal audience, all of you, and thanks hello to everyone on the way, both old and new pals alike. You're all very treasured, lovely children to me. Right, that's it. I'm going to knock this on the head because I'm rambling. This has been incoherent at the best of times. This should be a celebration of 10 years and always is a celebration of my fucking mumbling fucking gibberish. Hey, you know what? There we go. It's got 10 years out of it. I'm sure we can get another 10. I don't know if that's a threat or a promise. Hello, welcome to Who Dares Rolls and Son. Hello, Isaac.
Hello.
Okay, so Isaac wasn't with us when we first started on our 10-year journey of Who Dares Rolls. You've come along since, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were surprised, number 3. Mm-hmm. And what a surprise you were.
Yeah.
Much vodka was involved, both before and after.
Yeah.
So, most importantly, as you're here, what have you come here to discuss with the viewers, the people out there?
Well, I have a huge collection of leaves, if you can look at them. So, if we could just take them all out, we can have a
What are they?
look. These are Minecraft cards.
Minecraft cards. You like Minecraft, don't you? So maybe we can get a Minecraft board game to play.
Guys, tell us if you have any Minecraft board games at home.
That's right. Yes, to interact with the audience. That's a good point. They should. What should they do as well? Should they subscribe?
Yeah, subscribe.
Subscribe.
And ring the bell. And don't even think about pressing the bad button. Like this one.
Don't press. What happens to thumbs downs?
That means our videos are going to be gone.
Oh my God! Well, gone forever.
Yeah, gone for 100 days and we have to do them again.
I don't want to do them the first time, let alone again.
No, we could get like 200 million likes.
What?
Yeah, so then we can make more videos and then we will get more money.
I haven't got any money yet.
Guys, count with us. 1, 2, 3.
What? Anything else to add? Any other pearls of wisdom? Anything you'd like to get off your chest? Anything that's been nagging you? Anything that's making you angry? That something stuck in your tooth? Bogies? Anything like that? No?
Don't even listen to Daddy when he just said bogies.
I don't think they ever think about commenting, to be honest with you.
Guys, don't even use your computer to call our channels and then don't call us bogies.
You've come on here and you're using some very offensive language. You can't be swearing and swearing up a storm like this. What are you doing? You're going to get us shut down. Your mum up?
I don't know. She was just in the bed with her.
Well, she does that. She likes that bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just does the snooze, doesn't she? Oh, you're back. You've got to go for that. So we've covered that much so far. We've got to do all this yet. Okay, well done. We've got to sign off properly.
Like, and subscribe and click bell right now.
Okay, excellent. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll be back soon with more videos, won't we?
Yeah, see you in the next channel. We're going to be back.
Excellent. Bye.